Agnes Miller devoted her life to raising her son, David, as a single parent. She wasn't just his mom, she was the captain of their ship. With her firm hand and no-nonsense attitude, she steered them through life's rough waters. David grew up under her watchful eye. Every move he made was carefully monitored, and his mother wouldn't tolerate any backtalk. Her word was gospel. "David, you need to find a wife," Agnes declared one evening. "How long are you going to stay a bachelor, clinging to your mom's apron strings?" "Believe me, I've tried. How many women have I brought home?" David protested. "But none of them seemed to meet your standards. And they were all perfectly nice girls. It's a shame you chased them all away." "Nice? Each one worse than the last." Agnes scoffed as she placed a bowl of soup in front of him. "The first one, a dancer, swiped my pearl necklace right from under my nose. The second, a teacher, couldn't shut up about her students and lesson plans. She gave me the creeps, honestly." Agnes whispered dramatically. She was jittery, giggling at nothing, like she escaped from a psych ward. "And they let her around children. Unbelievable." "Mom, that's not fair. What about Anya? She was perfect for me, kind, helpful around the house." David argued. "Don't even get me started on Anya." Agnes waved her hand dismissively. "She needed speech therapy and a complete makeover. Even then it might not have helped. And where did you even find her?" "The sticks, obviously. She could barely speak English. I could hardly understand a word she said. Kindness alone doesn't keep a marriage afloat, son." And so, David remained a bachelor well into his 40s. Then, he met a young college student named Emily at their workplace. One day, he offered her a ride home from campus. Their conversation flowed easily, filled with laughter and compliments. This sparked something in David, and he decided to pursue Emily more seriously. "I really enjoy spending time with you, Emily. How about I become your regular driver to and from school?" "Don't worry, it's on me," David offered generously. Emily agreed, and from then on, David showered her with flowers and treats, spending a significant chunk of his paycheck on her. Naturally, Agnes noticed the change in her son's behavior and his dwindling bank account. "Where's all your money going? You were gone all day running errands, and you didn't even eat lunch. Did you meet someone?" Agnes inquired. "Yes, Mom, and she's amazing," David replied with a dreamy smile. "I know what type. High maintenance and materialistic," Agnes retorted, crossing her arms. "Spending all that money on a woman is ridiculous. Is she worth it?" "Absolutely, Mom. You don't know her like I do. Emily is kind and down to earth, and she's going to college." David tried to explain. "College?" Agnes interrupted, horrified. "What does her age matter? What's wrong with that?" "What's wrong? She probably can't even cook or clean. Frivolous and naive. And mark my word, son, these young girls are trouble. Stay away from her before you regret it. Look at all the money you've wasted on her, throwing your love away." Of course, Agnes' suspicions were completely off base. After a while, David's persistence paid off, and Emily agreed to be his girlfriend. Their relationship blossomed quickly, and within 6 months, David was down on one knee, proposing marriage and suggesting they move in together. He picked Emily up from her dorm room and brought her to their shared apartment with his mother, hoping Agnes would eventually warm up to his love. However, things were about to get much more complicated for David and Emily under the same roof with Agnes. This marked the beginning of a war zone. Despite Emily's genuine efforts to win over her mother-in-law, Agnes found fault with everything she did. Emily's cooking was declared inedible, her laugh was apparently annoying, and her way of organizing the apartment was always wrong. John felt like a referee, constantly breaking up arguments. "How do you even hold a fork? Did you grow up in a barn?" Agnes would criticize, always finding some flaw. "Clumsy. Left hand for the fork, right hand for the knife." It's not rocket science. I'm so sorry, Agnes, Emily would reply softly, looking down at her plate. I know, it's just that I had a headache today. And why do you have a headache, I wonder? You slept in until noon, neglecting your housework. I warned David about marrying someone so young. She'll never be a capable homemaker. But no, David knows everything. He's so stubborn. Not a single day went by without these kinds of fights. Agnes never backed down from her disapproval of her daughter-in-law, piling chores on her while David was at work, then cruelly criticizing her efforts. David remained on the sidelines, focused solely on his job and refusing to get involved in the constant bickering between his wife and mother. Emily finally reached her breaking point. After 2 chaotic years of marriage to David, she packed her bags and went to stay with her mom. Heartbroken, she filed for divorce. David became a different person after that. Emily's absence took a huge toll on him, emotionally and mentally. He became withdrawn, barely leaving his room. He lost his appetite, even refusing his favorite meals, no matter how hard Agnes tried to cheer him up. Nothing seemed to ease David's pain. He deeply resented his mother for driving away yet another important woman in his life, especially someone he truly loved. As a result, David turned to alcohol, seeking comfort at the bottom of a bottle. This lifestyle wasn't compatible with his job as a cab driver, where sobriety was essential. He started avoiding fares altogether. Losing his job only made things worse. David fell into a spiral of heavy drinking, which often led to angry outbursts. If you hadn't constantly interfered, Mom, Emily would still be here. David accused his mother, swaying drunkenly. She left because of you. You chased her away. What did I ever do to her, David? Agnes feigned innocence, clutching her chest dramatically. Did I ever mistreat her? On the contrary, I offered her all my support. I tried to teach her how to run a household. I gave her advice. If Emily wasn't ready for married life, that's on her. Don't you even say that. The inebriated man roared, throwing a mug across the room in a fit of rage. It shattered with a loud crash, making Agnes flinch. You've meddled in all my relationships, including the one with Emily. You always have to be in control. You've controlled my entire life. David, what nonsense are you spewing? How can you talk to your own mother like that? Agnes protested. Why shouldn't I? It's your fault I've been alone for 42 years. I finally found love, and you ruined it. David yelled, shoving another dish off the table in his fury. You know what, Mom? If you won't let me be happy, then I'll make sure you're miserable too. I'll decide who I live with from now on, and you'll just have to deal with it. David, honey, are you really going to bring home the first woman you meet? Agnes exclaimed, disbelief in her voice. Yes, Mom, you heard me right. Just to spite you, I'll find a woman and marry her, whoever she is. Ha! You're just bluffing. Good luck with that, David. Agnes waved him off dismissively. I'm not that naive. You're letting Emily walk all over you, and now suddenly you'll settle for any woman you find on the street. Do you think I'm stupid? We'll see who's the fool, David retorted angrily, stumbling past his mother. Agnes initially dismissed David's drunken threats. After all, what were the odds an angry, inebriated man would follow through on them? But her surprise was clear when she walked in the apartment to find a pair of unfamiliar women's shoes by the door. Loud voices and bursts of laughter filtered out from the living room. Stepping into the kitchen, Agnes froze in the doorway, her face a mask of disapproval. The scene that greeted her was far from ideal. David sat with a woman she didn't recognize, a woman who was definitely not in her prime, both of them sharing a bottle of hard liquor. As usual, David was completely wasted, oblivious to everything around him. Well, hey there, future mother-in-law. The strange woman slurred, offering Agnes a loopy grin. In her shaky hand, she clutched a full glass. David and I were just waiting for you. getting ready to toast to your health. What in the world is going on here? Who are you? And what are you doing in my apartment? Agnes demanded. This is my fiancée, Brenda. David chimed in. His words slurred together as he looked at the woman with a drunken smile. The future mother of your grandchildren. Agnes clutched her chest in disbelief. A fiancée? That drunken woman. Agnes pointed a finger at the disheveled, messy lady. Look at her, David. Where did you even find her? Hey, I come from a very wealthy family. Brenda attempted to defend herself, but her words were mumbled and practically impossible to understand. And what's wrong with enjoying a drink every now and then? Agnes retorted, her voice laced with frustration. I, Agnes Miller, only have a drink on special occasions. And this was supposed to be just for David and me, a little get-together. I don't care. Get out of here, both of you. I won't have this kind of behavior under my roof. That's final, Agnes declared firmly. No, Brenda, stay, David suddenly yelled, lurching out of his chair with the help of the table. He glared at his mother. You seem to forget, Mom. This is my apartment too. I live here, and I have rights. I can do whatever I want in my own place, and I can invite whoever I want. Do you understand? Now leave us alone. Don't ruin my dinner with my future wife. Overwhelmed by David's aggression, Agnes couldn't argue with him. The following week became a living nightmare. What was once a clean and organized apartment under her care devolved into a chaotic mess. Endless parties went on late into the night, the smell of stale alcohol clinging to the once pristine walls. Every time Agnes came home, her heart sank at the thought of encountering a swarm of unfamiliar faces waiting for her inside. One figure stood out amidst the chaos: Brenda, David's belligerent future wife. Brenda never missed an opportunity to insult Agnes whenever things weren't exactly how she liked them. She actively encouraged David's drinking, while also indulging excessively herself, which often led to explosive arguments. On one particularly bad night, Brenda even resorted to violence, slapping Agnes across the face when she didn't get what she wanted. With nowhere else to turn, Agnes, desperate and at her wits' end, decided to swallow her pride and seek out Emily. Through some old friends, she managed to get the address of Emily's mom and rushed over to her former daughter-in-law's house. As Emily opened the door, surprise etched on her face, Agnes launched into a tearful apology. Emily, honey, please forgive this old bat. I was the one in the wrong. There's no denying it. I drove you crazy. For the love of Pete, please forgive me. Can you ever find it in your heart to come back? David's become a total mess without you. He's drowning himself in booze every single day, Agnes pleaded. I'm begging you, come back. Save him, the poor guy. I promise I won't be a bother anymore, I swear. I'll even move out of the apartment, find a new place, and leave you two in peace. I won't interfere, I promise. Just help David get back on his feet, Emily, and bring him back to life, please. This unexpected visit from her former mother-in-law yielded surprising results. To Agnes' astonishment, Emily agreed to consider her pleas. A few days later, Emily stood on Agnes' doorstep. The older woman warmly welcomed her former daughter-in-law and went to wake David. When Emily entered the room, she found John hungover and miserable, sprawled out in bed. Next to him, a strange woman was passed out, sprawled all over the place with no regard for decency. True to her word, Agnes held back from meddling in the emotional reunion between the young couple. She worried that any interference from her might scare Emily away and send everything back into a downward spiral. Luckily, David managed to convince his love that Brenda was nothing but a ploy to spite his mother. I brought Brenda here to get back at Mom. I wanted to teach her a lesson for always sticking her nose in my business, David explained, holding Emily tightly as she cried. You're the only one I love, Emily. Please come back to me. Give me another chance. I'll quit drinking, I promise. And I'm kicking Brenda out of here right now. David didn't just make empty promises. He immediately woke up the drunken woman and forcefully escorted her out of the apartment, ignoring her incoherent shouts and pleas. This action spoke volumes to Emily, proving that David was truly done with Brenda. It wasn't long before David proposed to Emily again. This time, they skipped the big wedding and simply had a small ceremony at the courthouse. David truly quit drinking, no longer needing it to numb the pain. He felt genuinely happy, especially when they received the wonderful news of Emily's pregnancy 6 months later. As planned, Agnes downsized from her apartment to 2 smaller, separate rooms. Now the young couple lived on their own, eagerly preparing for the arrival of their baby. Agnes rarely visited them, only coming by when invited. She didn't want to risk disrupting their newfound peace and harmony. I hope you enjoyed this story. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more awesome stories in the future. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey, and we'll see you next video.